Welcome back to another episode of Drop the Mitts Hockey Podcast, brought to you in partnership with Primetime Production. We have episode 25, Aidan McDonough's lucky number. We got the two-time Bean Pot winner and current forward of the Vancouver Canucks, and also former captain of the Northeastern Huskies. Aidan, how you doing, buddy?
Good, good. Thanks for having me on. It's
Yeah, man,
been
happy
a
to
long time.
finally have you on. It's been kind of a long time coming, and you've been ripping it up. But yeah, it's all good, man.
Yeah,
Dude, what has life been like? Also, like last year was so crazy for you. You're in college, you're playing in bean pots, you're playing at Fenway, and then all of a sudden it kind of seemed like snap of a finger, you're on a plane, you're heading to play in your first NHL game. What was that whirlwind like?
yeah. Life. Well, life back then. That last year was a whirlwind. It was insane. I think I couldn't have dreamed it out any better. I guess the only way it would have been better is if we played a little bit longer at Northeastern. We obviously kind of season ended a bit shortly there, but other than that, it was amazing. It was dream come true. I was excited to go back to Northeastern and finish my degree and play with the guys that I had for 4 years and continue to build my game. And like you said, Fenway, the Bean Pot, two unbelievable experiences, and then next thing you know, I'm on a plane to Arizona to meet the Canucks on the road and travel with them for about a week and then play my first game. And then the summer was hectic as well, and then now it's kind of settled down a little bit. It's back to reality and kind of like back to our normal routine, and it's just kind of back to hopefully developing and continue to build my game.
Yeah, you mentioned that group that you guys had at Northeastern, man. You guys were so friggin' fun to watch. Jordan Harris, Jaden Struble. I mean, Devin Levi. The list goes on and on. What was it like playing with that group and just those guys? I mean, they're unbelievable players, but they just seem like even better guys off the ice.
Yeah, I think you said it. Like they're just unbelievable people off the ice, and that's what makes it so special. I think when you're with people for 3 to 4 years and play with them for that period of time, you get to know them so well. Um, you get to love their insecurities and like or their imperfections. I mean, like you get to know a guy really well, and you become so close. And we had a really close knit group at Northeastern, and we still talk almost every day. But it was a blast. Going to the rink every day was amazing. Just spending so much time, and we would spend hours at the rink, whether before or after practice, and then you're going to eat with them, and then you're in the dorms. Like we spent so much time together, and be able to play with those guys and have the memories that we did and win games and win championships, and that's kind of what it's all about is kind of creating that bond between your best friends, and then watching it come to fruition with winning, and then now it's just a joy to kind of watch them play. Whether it be in the NHL or the AHL or some guys are still in college. It's amazing, and it's something that's kind of what I wanted going to Northeastern. Obviously, there's so many factors, in terms of development, the education, the city, the coaching staff, all that. But ultimately, like I wanted to go there and feel like it was home and have best friends that I'll have for the next, the rest of my life. And that's ultimately what I got. And I couldn't be more grateful for that.
Yeah, so like what did it mean, man, to wear the C for that team? I mean, obviously we just mentioned a bunch of, phenomenal guys, but to be like, the leader, have that C on your chest. What did that mean to you to be the leader of that group?
Yeah, it meant everything. I think it kind of started, the idea popped in my head when I got there my freshman year, and Ryan Shea was my captain my freshman year, and he just set such a good example for all of us. Kind of how to conduct yourself on and off the ice. How to prepare, how to play hard, how to bring the guys together away from the rink. Like there was just so many things. Him, but not only the whole senior class was amazing, and I think right there I kind of realized like that's what I want to be. One day, like I want to be the guy that kind of does that. Um, and to have him, Zach Solo, Jordan Harris, among many other guys that kind of helped pave the way for me, and heralded guys, Brendan Van Riemsdyk, John Picking, even guys like Curtis Fry. Like there was just a lot of, really good guys that kind of helped me throughout my 4 years there and be able to kind of represent all of them. Because when you're the captain of Northeastern, it's not just the current team; it's all the previous alumni and players that you represent as well. And it was just an honor to represent all of them.
Yeah, and we mentioned in the intro, the bean pot, and obviously, you're from Milton. I'm from Mass as well. For the listeners that don't know how big of a tournament that is, like, dude, what was it like playing in that? Obviously the packed garden. Like, what was it like? And then literally your last one, you score in the shootout, and to win it. Like, what was it like playing in that tournament?
It means everything. Like I went to every bean pod until I went to Cedar Rapids to play in the USHL. So I went to, probably from, fourth grade on. And sorry, one sec. I'm talking to someone, Gats. I'm living with a couple of roommates here.
You're good, bro.
Sorry about that. We got four
You're
guys in
good,
the
dude.
house. All played college, so we call it the frat house here in Abbotsford.
You're good,
Uh,
man, dude. One of our last I think it was Trevor Kuntar we had on, and he was sitting on literally all he had with him was like his bed and whatever, and Mark McLaughlin literally just barged in. And he was like, "Oh, my bad." Like, it was perfect, and so yeah, man, it's all good.
yeah, so sorry about that. But
No, you're good, dude.
but I remember the question. So yes, it was like I said, I went to every one for my whole life, and those guys were my heroes. Those were the guys that, growing up, I just wanted to play college hockey, playing the bean pod. Um, I wasn't ever playing the NHL or achieve all these other things. It's like, no, I just want to. Those guys were my idols. I looked up to guys, local guys that played at local colleges that went up to play in the NHL. Like, those are the guys that I wanted to be like, and um, it was amazing. I think it's funny, like, guys now, because I play now with John Stevens, who played at Northeastern, and he didn't get to win one. But we always talk about it, and we talk about Northeastern, and guys on the team give us a hard time, and they're like, it's a 4-person tournament, like, you win 2 games, you win, like, it's so dumb. So the other day we were golfing, we played Coachella Valley in Palm Springs, beautiful
Yeah.
area. And we were going golfing, and the guy who was checking us into the golf course is from Framingham. So we start to talk, and he's like, "No way, you went to Northeastern. So did you win a bean pod?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Oh my!" And he starts going off about how great the bean pod is. And the kid next to me played in the OHL, and he's like, "I'm sick of this. Like, I'm tired of hearing about this tournament." But it really is. I think people don't understand how much it means to the city of Boston and the kids that grew up in it, and the individual universities. Like, it's huge bragging rights, and something that I'm most proud of is just like the student support that we got at the Bean Pot. It seemed to get better and better every year.
Yeah, dude,
And
it
we
was
just had
electric. It was
insane, like
yeah,
the
that
student
year, man.
turnout.
Yeah, dude, unreal. And you get like each corner, right, of like
Yes,
like schools, and then it's just like a complete gong show by the second game, dude. It's like,
I know, and I
and
think
then
that's for Northeastern. It's so special because we don't really have anything else that brings the school together like that. We don't have a
yeah,
football team. There's not a major party scene in terms of like homecoming or spring weekend. There isn't really anything that like the whole school can get together and kind of show their school pride for. And I think the Bean Pot's amazing opportunity for that. And for us to kind of be the centerpiece means a lot. And I think the university has done so much for all of us as players that it's amazing that we're kind of the focal point.
yeah, dude. So obviously Milton, and then you, along with the Beanpot, you got the chance to play at Fenway. Less than an hour away from Milton. Um, what was that experience like, dude? Like, you're playing, you got the Green Monster right there. Obviously, you're literally at Fenway. It's been around however many 100 years, and you're skating literally on the field. Like, what was that experience like, dude?
That was a really cool experience. I obviously grew up going to Red Sox games. I went to the first Frozen Fenway when BC played BU, and I think it was 2014 or 2012. And I was there.
I'm pretty sure I went to that one as well. I think it was
Yeah,
2012.
I think it was 2012. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I was at the Sun Life Frozen Fenway. I sat up behind first base. Um, so that was just so cool, and I was enthralled by it. And obviously, always watching like the 24/7 Winter Classics. Like, those were so cool to kind of get the behind the scenes of like an outdoor game. So it was just really cool. I have an uncle that works as an usher at Fenway, so every time I go to the game growing up, it would always be seeing him and spending time with him. So just be able to play on the ice, it was amazing. I think the best part about it is that you get to practice the day before on the ice. You only get 30 minutes. Every team gets 30 minutes to practice. But that's really cool because you could get to take pictures and take it all in and really have fun with it and enjoy it. And then obviously when you're playing the game, you're playing a game. So you're still obviously kind of focused on playing the game. But it was really cool. It was interesting. Like, it wasn't really that loud. It was like dead silent on the ice, and there was a good crowd there. But it's just everything's so much further away because you're kind of used
Yeah.
to the fans being on top of you. That it was like delayed sound, like after a big save or a hit or a goal, like would kind of be silent, and then you could hear the fans like kind of later. But it was really cool, and to be able to play there and obviously win, and then we were kind of struggling there for a bit. We won, and then we went on a bit of a streak. Was really cool.
So like, how was the ice surface? Was it like kind of like a pond hockey feel? Like, I don't
It
know.
was
Like,
it was unreal. Like, it was perfect weather too.
yeah,
It
I
was
I,
like
I remember going to
overcast.
the Winter Classic this past Winter Classic that the Bruins played in. It was like impeccable weather, but it looked like the ice surface was like kind of jacked up. Like they kept having to go out there, and so I was curious, like if you guys had any issues like with the surface itself.
No, I don't. I remember the ice being good. It was like a little dry. Um, but the weather was perfect. It was like cloudy and like it was cold, but not too cold. Like there was no glare from the sun. The ice was good. It definitely, I guess, towards the end of the periods, it got really snowy, almost like you're playing
Yeah,
pond hockey.
yeah.
Uh,
So I was listening to you were on the Everything College Hockey podcast.
yeah,
They're cool dudes. And I forgot that you had that Selly dude, the
mhm.
batting. Like, what did you have that planned like before like the game even started, or was it just kind of like spur of the moment?
It was spur of the moment. I'm looking back. I kind of wish I didn't do it because it's embarrassing. Like sometimes you see some of those things, and you're like, oh boy. But
I thought it was electric, dude.
I think I saw it growing up. I think it was Warsofsky or Shattenkirk on BU did it, maybe in that Frozen Fenway in 2012.
I think it was Shattenkirk.
Right? I think it was
Yeah,
one of them. And
I could be
then I want
mistaken.
to say McAvoy did it for BU, and then Gaudette did it for Northeastern. So just growing up watching all those games, like I'd be glued to the TV or at the games. I'd
Yeah,
always see guys do it. I'm like, that's so cool. And I was always thought like one day if I get a chance to play out there, I would do it. And then I didn't obviously think about it before or during or anything. And then it happens, and I was kind of like, okay, well, this is my chance. I'll do it. And it
yeah.
kind of just happened.
Cutter Gauthier did it last year too, so he's
Yeah, he
carrying
did.
on the tradition.
Yeah, he did.
Um, so I want to go back. So obviously, another part of Massachusetts hockey is how phenomenal the prep hockey is. And you played at Thayer Academy, which is phenomenal school. I was there a couple times this summer getting to skate. What did Thayer Academy and just playing in that prep league do for your development, and ultimately, what did the school do like to get you ready for Northeastern?
So much. Probably one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life is to go to Thayer. I think go to Thayer, go to Northeastern. I mean, Cedar Rapids wasn't really a choice. It was more of I got drafted there, so I kind of was going there.
Yeah,
And then same thing with Vancouver, but Thayer was influential in my life. It taught me so much. First, like academically, I came from Milton Public Schools, which is great education. But I think that it's very similar to college in terms of your schedule, your work, like the community. It was just amazing. The teachers, everyone there, the whole staff. I had an absolute blast. Like I met some of my best friends. We still are best friends from there. And then hockey was the most important few years of my life because I learned how to really play hockey. My freshman year there, I was 5'8", 150 pounds. I didn't get into any other prep school. My grades were good, but I don't think anybody else wanted me. And Tony Amonte knew me from when I was younger, and I think he saw that this kid could have a chance, and he pushed me really hard my first few years, and um, luckily I grew, and
yeah,
I grew on the ice as well as off the ice. But it was such a blast, and I think first of all, I think the schedule allows you to play that half season, which was really important. Um, and to get in the weight room because you're not playing as many games. So I was working out a lot during those 4 years, and that really helped me. Um, as well as the schedule, like the ISL is. I mean, I'm not sure if it's taken a bit of a dip now, but like back then, playing against Nobles or Sebs or Bell Hill, like
it's
those were
so good.
battles. There was 10 D1 guys on every team, and the
Yeah,
other guys that weren't were probably going NESCAC. So like we had really good divisions, really good teams that the hockey prepared me very well. But the life skills and going to schools with people from different cultures, different towns. Playing baseball in the spring, and then the college schedule, like it's very similar in terms of like you have classes till a certain time, then you go to the rink, and then you come home and they probably do homework, and then it was just amazing. So I had a blast, and I still love there to this day.
Yeah, like so you got to skate there this summer, right?
Yes,
You play in that 3-on-3 tournament?
I did. Yeah, I played a couple times.
Dude,
Yeah.
what is playing that tournament like? Because you guys are on that, like, super small ice surface, and you guys are all friggin' animals, right? Like, I mean, big boys, and it's like you got that little ice surface, and you're trying to just, you get the puck, and you have to make a snap decision. Like, the ice surface isn't big where you can just carry it around. What's it like playing that summer league? I mean, you got guys like, Charlie Coyle playing there. Man, Trevor Kuntar I know is playing there, and yourself. I can't think of the names top of my head. McLaughlin, um, Mike Hardman too. He's
Yeah.
another clown, dude. He's so funny. What's it like playing in that in that summer league?
It's great. Yeah, it's fun. It's just good in the summer to kind of have that, like, feel the pressure of guys on you, because if you do flow skates or skill skates, or you don't really get that kind of like competitiveness, and then also don't get that small area type battle. And that league is good for that. It's fun because, like you said, the ice sheet is really small, so you have to make plays quickly, and you're playing against other good players. So yeah, usually it's competitive, and it's a good time. Yeah, I like that. And other than sitting in traffic, it's at like 5 o'clock. It's not bad at all.
Yeah. So like what would you say was the biggest like adjustment for you? Obviously, we mentioned early in the episode, you kind of just everything happened so fast for you, right? You're playing for Northeastern, you're playing against college kids, and all of a sudden you're literally one day you're playing against NHLers. Like, what would you say besides the speed and everything? What would you say like was the biggest difference for you? And then in noticing those differences, what have you tried to like improve upon your own game to kind of try to get to, be successful at that next level?
Yeah, definitely. I think I can speak more on the American League, just because the NHL was like such a whirlwind and like a fantasy land, and I was kind of just they were kind of just like, hey, listen, like we're gonna show you briefly what the structure is, but we don't want to give it to you too much. Just go out there and just play.
Yeah.
So that was like, I was just like on cloud nine. I didn't really even like think or remember what happened in any of those games, because it was just like such a blur. But I think as in the professional level, I think the biggest adjustment, I mean, there's a lot of them. Honestly, I wish the list was a little shorter. But I think it's just adapting to a new role, a new system, a new style of play. Um, I think at Northeastern, I was looked upon as the go-to guy to score goals and produce offense. I'm not saying that I can't do that at this level. I think we have a lot of good guys on our team that do that, and it's more of like, let's round out the rest of your game, and defensively, smart puck decisions. Like, there's a lot of stuff that I've kind of had to adapt to a little bit and learn. And I think I'm growing, and I think I'm doing better as we've gone along. But I could get away with a lot of Northeastern, in terms of like, knowing that I'm going to be playing, 20 minutes a night, and I know I can make, mistakes here and there, but I probably get a goal to make up for it. Where here, it's everyone's so good. And there's so many good teams, and there's so many good players on our team that, like, you don't really have that room for error. You kind of have to be dialed in every game and making sure that you're making the right play and making smart plays, and playing hard, and you're getting pucks out of your zone, because if you don't, you're probably going to give up a goal if you turn it over. Where in college, you might be
Yeah.
able to have a turnover and nothing happens, where mistakes definitely get magnified. And I think I'm just kind of learning how to play a more north south, hopefully power forward that can score goals, and that's what's going to help me have success at hopefully one day in the NHL consistently, is kind of be that type of player. So I think it's all really good things that I think every younger player coming into pro hockey has to learn. And I think I'm going through it, and I think I've done an okay job, but I think I still have a lot more room to grow and continue to learn, because there is a lot. You think you know the game,
Yeah.
and you think you kind of have it all figured out in college. And I give credit to my Northeastern coaches; they did a great job, and like all the stuff they talked about at Northeastern, the coaches here are talking about, but it's just a bit harder to do it at this level, obviously, and consistently. And I think as I go, hopefully I'll get more comfortable with it.
So, like, even off the ice, is it how big of an adjustment was it for you? Like, just kinda, because obviously, you're from, Milton, you went to school in Mass, like, you're at the end of the day, man, you're 24 years old, like, has it been, like, a culture shock to you, like, just kinda being away from home and, um, just being in a new area, like, a completely different part of the country, I guess?
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. I think that's something that I don't think about as much as I probably should give myself a little bit more credit for. Is like it is hard. It is my real. I mean, I played juniors for a year, but this is kind of real life now, and it is a lot different in every aspect. In college, you wake up, you go to class till about 1 o'clock with, you know, all your best friends. And then you go get lunch with all your boys. And then you go to practice with all your boys. And you go eat with all your boys. And maybe do some homework. And then you watch a movie with, 8 guys. And then you go to bed with your 4 roommates and you're with them 24/7. Your schedule is very kind of regimented throughout the week. And you're playing games on the weekends. And you're always with people. You're on a college campus surrounded by all young people your age, and there's a
Right.
big social aspect to college as well. Like there's a lot of things. And then worst case, I'm 10, 15 minutes from home that my dad can come and drop something off if I need laundry, or if we want to get dinner, if I want to go home and take a nap. Like seeing a ton of my family all the time, and now it's wake up at the rink at 8, practice at 10, work out before practice, and I'm done by 11:30, and then I got the rest of the day.
Right.
And I do live with 4 guys, which is great that we kind of have each other. But then again, we're in a new area that Abbotsford, there's not a ton going on. It's not like I'm in downtown Boston. So it is different, and you're away from your friends, your family, so it is lonely. And I think a lot of guys have a bit harder time with that at first, of kind of finding like what to do, because you can only watch so many movies or watch TV
Right.
shows. Like it's kind of, you got to find to start
Yeah.
something. Um, so that's been a bit of an adjustment, but I think I feel a lot more comfortable now, and I think I have a bit more of a routine of like even just going on for a walk or getting groceries or going to do something. Like any excuse to get out of the house and do something in the afternoon is a good thing. So I think that part of it gets a little bit overlooked, because people think that you know adjustment to pro hockey is just on the ice, but it is off the ice as well.
Yeah, dude, for sure. Like, again, for someone who has, lived in Mass their whole life, and then all of a sudden, snap of a finger, you're in a completely different place. Like, for sure, you got to give yourself a lot of credit. And again, you're still only 24 years old, and like, to ask a lot of other 24-year-olds to do that, not to mention adjusting to the pro game, like it's a huge adjustment. And I commend you for doing it, because it's unbelievable.
Thank you.
Um, right before this, I was watching. I remember your first goal against Calgary, and take. Can you take us through what you remember about that goal? I mean, I just watched, man, and like you towards the end of the play, you win a puck battle against fucking Milan Lucic, and it's like what? And then all of a sudden, I'm like, dude, this is unreal. Like, and then your best buddies on the ice, sallying with you, and it's just unbelievable. Like, take us through what you remember about that your first goal.
Yeah. Crazy, because like you said, I didn't even know that Bones was on the ice. And I didn't know, yeah, Milan Lucic. I just remember he tried to make a play kind of through my skates, hit my skate, and I just cycled it behind the net. Milan Lucic obviously has had some troubles recently, but he was one of my favorite players growing up. A
Yeah,
big lefty power forward who could score and fight. Had his poster up on my wall. Um, and I cycled it to the net. I think Jack Studnicka, who's a good buddy of mine, who former Bruins player, he actually just got traded the other day, which was sad. But
yeah,
um, he did a wrap around on the net. The rebound came out. Sheldon Dries, when playing with now, made a great play to whack it kind of behind the net, behind the back, right to me, who I just was at the net. And I know that when I played in Chicago the day before, I had a chance to score, and I kind of like didn't have my stick ready on the ice, and I kind of like went down for it, and it bounced over my stick. And Coach Keefe would always talk about hands ready, knees bent, like down and ready to score. And I kind of always pride myself on that. So I was like, okay, well, if I get around that net tomorrow, like I'm just gonna be ready to score. And it just popped out, and I just jammed it home, and then turned, and Bones was right there, just so excited for me. He was on the ice for my first AHL goal too. Same thing, first guy to hug me, like in the same corner, kind of similar like goal. it's crazy how things work out like that. To have your best friend there with you, it's kind of nuts.
Yeah, dude. Like I was watching, and all of a sudden you're like fired up. Obviously, you just fucking scored, and then you kind of exactly what you just said. You kind of snap your head around. You're like, dude, like
Yeah.
that's so unreal though. Man, I one other thing I wanted to touch on. A lot of people are, with the success that Devin Levi's having. Him, what kind of guy was he? Like, I don't know, like off the ice, on the ice, you just hear these stories that, he's got these crazy routines, and obviously he seems like a really nice kid, really nice guy. What was it like playing with Devin? And are you still in contact with him?
I try to be, but he doesn't answer his phone. He's probably the worst person ever on their phone. Like I think I sent him a message on Snapchat 2 weeks ago, and it just was the same.
He's a goal. He's a goalie. He'll go.
But I think if I texted him or called him, he'd answer. But
Yeah,
he's he's an unbelievable guy. He's like a guy that everyone loves. He loves all the boys. I don't think there's a bad ounce in his heart. Like he truly loves everyone that he meets. He's like he's a puppy. Like he's a dog. Like he's just always like so happy, smiling. Like, hey Dad, hey man. Like he's just always in a good mood. And he's a great guy, and he works extremely hard. I think, like you said about his routines, he's very dialed in. Taught me a lot about the mental side, and some preparation. Gave me some books to read. Like he's really dialed in, very focused, and then but also like very gullible and very out to lunch at the same time. Like he's just a goofy kid, but he's very well spoken, very well mannered, very nice. Everyone loves him. Um, but very good at hockey. Obviously, like
yeah,
scoring on him in practice was not easy. Um, in games was probably even harder for the other teams because we wouldn't obviously say much to him. He puts his headphones on and meditates in between periods, and definitely does some wacky stuff. But just a great teammate that I've been lucky to play with and call a friend.
yeah. Another thing I kind of wanted to ask you early on, just kind of escaped me. You get drafted, seventh round, 195th overall. Um, Did you like, were there any other teams that you thought there was a good chance that you'd go to? And then also, like, what was it like, ultimately getting that call and finding out that you're drafted to the NHL? Like, how surreal was it to you? And what do you remember about, having family around and stuff?
Yeah, I remember it really well. Well, so that was my second year to be able to get drafted. So my first draft year eligible was my senior year at Thayer. And I interviewed with like 10 teams, maybe more. I was playing with Jay O'Brien, who we
Yep.
probably had, 30 NHL scouts at every game. Did a bunch of interviews, and obviously he was very highly touted, was supposed to go in the first round, which he obviously eventually did. Um, so like I fully thought I was going to get drafted. I went to the Pittsburgh Penguins like combine like before the draft and did like some like skates and stuff like that with them. So I was like, okay, like I thought it went well. So I was like, okay, I'm probably gonna get drafted by Pittsburgh. So I sat at home, watched the whole draft with my dad, and didn't get picked. Pittsburgh had a pick like in the 6th or 7th round, where I was like, all right, maybe they'll get me. They
Yeah.
actually a kid from St. Seb's, Liam Gorman, um, and I was definitely upset. But my dad's like, well, you can either let this derail you, or you can use it as motivation. Um, so I thought I was gonna get drafted by Pittsburgh my first year. Then my second year, I didn't even think about it at all. I didn't interview with anyone. Um, Played the year in Cedar Rapids. Was like in and out of the lineup. I was getting healthy scratch until probably like November, December ish. So I was like, "There's no way I'm getting drafted." And then the second half of the year, I turned it on. Um, got the call from Northeastern. They wanted me to come in, and had a really good second half of the year. And then the next year the draft's going on. I'm like, well, okay, well I'm not getting drafted. Like I'm not even gonna think about it. So I went to Martha's Vineyard with all my best friends from Milton. Um, Four of us at our buddy's house, and we were getting off the ferry, and we were getting a bite to eat at Nancy's right on the water there. And my buddies are in the bathroom, and they come running out, and they're like screaming, and they're like, "Dude, you just got drafted." I'm like, "What?" And I look down at my phone. My
No
dad called.
way.
He was watching the whole thing.
Dude.
He just called me and he was like, "Bud, you just got drafted." Like he was obviously so excited. Then after that, my phone just went nuts, and
Yeah.
it was a really special moment. And then that night, I had to fly to Vancouver the next morning at 6 a.m. and I was on the Vineyard. So my dad drove down to the Cape. I took the last ferry at like 9 o'clock out of the Vineyard to Woods Hole, and then my dad got me, drove me back. I woke up the next morning and flew out off to development camp. But very special and very very cool to be able to share with my best friends. To have them there with me because they've been my
Yeah.
boys forever and still are. So that was a really special moment.
I can't say I've heard a story like that, dude, where you just kinda are like
Yeah,
just chilling like
yeah.
but
Just well, it honestly was better off just not thinking about it at all. Just going to the Vineyard for a weekend to have fun, and
yeah.
kind of ended up working out.
Like, so you mentioned, that you weren't really thinking about it, but, like, now you look back, do you kinda use that as, like, a chip on your shoulder almost that, like, you were 7th, first time around, you didn't get drafted, second time around, which, again, even to get drafted is unreal, but, like, 7th round pick, do you kinda, like, still kinda have a chip on your shoulder because of that, or is it just something you kinda just put in the rear view and just kinda focus on, what's ahead of you?
Yeah, I think like early on after I my first freshman year of college, I was definitely like, okay, like these guys got all picked ahead of me, and I think I did better than this year. And you kind of think about that. But I think as time's gone on, you don't really think about that. I think I
Yeah,
more think in my head, I just think more like things haven't came easy to me. They never really have. At there and college and juniors, like I've had to work for it. And I have, they aren't coming, like if it's been a bit of a slow start up and down so far. So it's like I just know that things haven't came easy. I'm gonna have to work for it, and it's gonna take some time. But hopefully, I'll get there eventually. And just know that it's not gonna be the easiest road, but it'll be well worth it.
have any of the older guys that are up in the, obviously Vancouver right now is incredibly talented team. I mean, Quinn Hughes is ripping it up. Elias Pettersson is, Elias Pettersson things. Brock Besser, like, have any of those older guys reached out to you and just kind of offered you any type of like mentorship or just advice um, about being a pro?
I think, well, this year, no. I mean, they're focused on their
Yeah,
season, and I think we have guys in our team that can help do that. In Abbotsford, we have some great veteran guys. But last year, yeah, all the guys were really helpful. I
yeah,
think they were all every one of them was really nice. I don't really have a bad word to say about all the guys. They were very helpful and nice, and it's a job. Like you're going about your business, and like they're doing that, and they go home to their families, and I'm going about my business. But
yeah,
I think like Connor Garland, I knew him a little bit obviously from playing before we got to play together last year, and he's definitely helped me. um,
that
he's hard.
mass connection.
Yeah, he's hard on all of his buddies in the summer, but like he means it out of that he cares about us and wants us to get better, and he pushes us. um, Tyler Myers is a great guy. Dakota Joshua helped me a lot. Studnika did because we kind of both had the Boston connection. Um, JT Miller was honestly really good to me in terms of like mentoring a little bit of like advice here and there, and making you feel comfortable with kind of like busting your chops every once in a while, but then also like telling you good job or hey work on this. Like they're all really good people, and I'm not surprised at all that they're having the success that they've had. And then down here we have Matt Irwin, who's on his 16th year of pro hockey.
Yeah,
Played in a few Stanley Cup finals. Like he's great to all of us. He's just an unbelievable guy. John Stevens has helped me a lot. He's obviously played at Northeastern. Then Bonesy helped me a ton too when he was here. He got traded. But the whole team, everyone's been really good. Mark Ackholm, my roommate, played at UConn. Like he's been really helpful too because we lived together and he's been through it. It's his second year, so there's a lot of guys. It's pretty. You don't have to look too far for help around here. But at the end of the day, as well, like they're trying to do their job.
yeah,
And I have to do mine. But there is a lot of guys.
yeah. So we as we've kind of gone on and done these episodes, we've had people reach out and just kind of ask about like, they have kids and they want to know what it takes to get to the prep level in mass, the not in mass, but just the level of prep, then
Yeah.
college, then what advice would you give to a kid that's kind of, got that dream of making it big, making it to the show? Like what advice would you give them? Things they should be doing on and off the ice, and just habits they should have. Um, like obviously you've made it like highest level. So what advice would you give those kids with dreams of making it to the show?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think there's a lot of things, obviously, depending on the age, but I think like early on when you're younger, it's just that love for the game and having fun. Because if you love something, um, and like shooting pucks in your backyard or stick handling with your buddies doesn't feel like work, then you'll get better. You'll develop. If your dad's yelling at you or making you go out the back and shoot 100 pucks before every game, then it's probably not going to feel great, and you're probably not going to want to do it after a while. But if you just naturally love to do it and you kind of, authentically get into that, then I think you're going to be able to, like, the more you love the game, the better you're going to be. But my things, I guess, would be like have fun because, it's a game.
Yeah.
Watch hockey. Like I went to as many Nobles, St. Seb's, Thayer games growing up as I could. And then as I got older, college games, I went to every BC game on a Friday night. I watched Gaudreau. I watched Kevin Hayes. Like I went to all those games. So like I would watch hockey. You don't have to go to the Bruins game and spend a couple $100 every time. It's like go to like your local Milton High game or
Yeah.
Nobles game or a college game. College game tickets are cheap. So I would do that because I think you learn the game, and there's a lot of things you can pick up from obviously watching. And I think as a kid, like it just makes it special. It makes going to the rink with your dad special. Like we'd go on Friday nights and we'd drive through Jamaica Plain, and those were like some of the best memories of me when I was younger, getting the popcorn at the game, and then you get to sit down and watch and ask the trainer for tape or like whatever. Like that's the best
Yeah.
part. And then as you get older, I think surrounding yourself with good players and a good coach, it's really important. There's a lot of good coaches out there, and there's a lot of coaches that don't really know what they're doing. So get yourself on a team with a good coach, and I was lucky to have that with Neil Shea Sr., with Jason Rathbone, and those guys really helped me out when I was younger because they played the game they played at BC, they played the game at a high level, and they cared. We played together on the same team for a long time, and they really cared about us. And I also played with good players, so like I wouldn't be signing up for every summer tournament that you can, because a lot of the times it's just a money grab and the coaches, don't care. And the kids in the team could be, random kids. Like I only played in a summer tournament with my buddies.
Yeah.
And we would go as a group of like 8, and then we'd get the other kids to come in. And like, we would always have good teams because we all, we're good players. We play together. And that's really important. And then I think for prep schools are going to go watch those good players play together. So like if you're on a team, like I played with Jay O'Brien and Jack Rathbone and, Mike Callahan, all these guys growing up on the same team. So when the scouts were going to watch them, like they're inevitably going to see me at some point.
Right.
So I think that's important to surround yourself with, because a lot of times there's good players. Sometimes they get lost, which people always say if you're a good player, they'll find you, which is true. But sometimes good players do get lost because they're not really being seen in the right situations. And then for prep schools, I would reach out via email. That's going to help probably. And then also, being on those good select teams and half season teams and being at those showcases where colleges and prep schools are going to be at is going to be important. And then, if you do all that stuff and you make it to prep school, and the best thing you can do, I guess, is just produce, right? And then play well, and then you'll get noticed by colleges. If you're playing in prep school and you're doing well, then they'll notice you. College coaches, they look everywhere for sure.
Awesome, man. I can't thank you enough for taking time out of your day. Obviously I know you're got a lot going on, playing for Abbotsford, and honestly can't thank you enough for taking time coming on and just, chatting, and I wish you the best of luck along the way. I mean, keep killing it over there, and yeah, take care, buddy. Appreciate you.
Yeah, no problem. Like I said, sorry about taking so long, but
No,
glad,
you're good.
glad I did it. It was a fun time, so I
Man,
appreciate it.
it worked out. Episode 25. I mean,
I
it
know.
kind
Look
of
at
worked
that.
out. It aligned, and the stars aligned, and it was awesome. I mean, I was so excited to hear your story, and obviously you being a local kid, and myself, I grew up in Mass, and always would go to the Bean Pots, and then obviously being at Northeastern when you were there, getting to go watch, it was unreal. So I was really excited to do this interview. Um,
Awesome.
but yeah, man, thank you, and best of luck the rest of the way.
All right. Yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'll talk to you.
Take care, man. Thank
All
you.
right.
That was Aidan McDonough, former captain of the Northeastern Huskies and current forward in the Vancouver Canucks organization. Just an unbelievable guy. Man, I was really fired up to do that episode. Getting to watch him in the Bean Pot and just getting to hear his story, and getting to hear that advice at the end that he has for the younger kids coming up. Just unbelievable. Um, just an inspiration, and then hopefully kids, can listen to this and kind of take that advice and use it in their own lives and train and fall in love with the game and achieve your dreams. But that was episode 25 of Drop the Mitts Hockey Podcast, brought to you in partnership with Primetime Production. I am your host, Chris Davis, and we will see you next time, guys. Take care.